So please help me welcome Martha Dean.
Well, I've said this before, and I'll say it once more tonight. It's not about me. Thank you, God, that all these people are here and care about our country and care about the state and care about our rights. And if this state turns around, I mark my words, it will be because of the people in this room. It's not possible to turn it around without the people in this room. And that's why you feel the energy tonight. That's why you see these great candidates coming before you and talking about the Second Amendment for the first time ever. It is not possible to turn around Connecticut without this group, and it is not possible to turn around America without this group. So, most of you know me. I will just be very, very brief. I'm your lawyer.
Thank you.
I'm not CCDL's lawyer as an organization, but I am one of the lawyers in the phenomenal, with national reputations, legal team that is representing CCDL and the Coalition of Connecticut Sportsmen and a number of fantastic individual plaintiffs and 2 fantastic retailer plaintiffs in the case known as Shue versus Malloy, which is bringing a Second Amendment challenge in federal court, challenging this completely, patently unconstitutional law passed by Malloy and the Democratic legislature in Connecticut. And we are not done. We are going all the way to the U.S. Supreme Court. We can't force the U.S. Supreme Court to take this case, but it looks very likely that they will take either the New York case or the Connecticut case or both. I think they'll probably take up both. Now, the first question that, and I can get into my background, you can read it on the website. I'm from Vermont. I have nice stories that I could tell, and I will tell them on the campaign trail, and you will like them. And I like learning about Heather, for example, and others because I don't know them personally. But for those of you who don't know me personally, I will tell you whatever you want to know about me. And there's a lot of good material there that will give you comfort in the way that I was raised. And I'm a business owner, and I'm a constitutional lawyer and an environmental lawyer, and I defend shooting ranges not just in Connecticut, where we've won for Medicon and for Blue Trail in federal and state court, but also we just have a recent victory that was upheld and appealed in Iowa. And I heard from a company recently that did research on this that we now are the #1 firm for defending shooting ranges this side of California. And it all started out because I sued a shooting range, the Nyack Sportsman's Club, for environmental reasons. And the people in that club took their time, as we need to do with the Democrats and the independents, took their time to educate me, the opposition, the lawyer suing them, to walk their range and get to know me and educate me. And I switched sides after that case. I switched sides, and I've never gone back because I realized what was really happening in that case. And so take the time and be patient with the other side, because sometimes often they are very good people who just don't know better. And so don't be too quick to judge the other side. Often they just need you to walk around with them outside, help them with whatever, fix their tire, carry their groceries, and hear you talk about your troubles just without asking them to do anything. Just explain what's going on in Connecticut, and it's amazing how many people will come around. Did I come around that day that I walked the site with Nyack Sportsman's Club? No, but I thank them over and over again for teaching me, because I did come around eventually, and now I receive awards from the NRA for defending shooting ranges, and I'm proud to do that. But let me just fast forward to this race. I want to just address the questions that are obviously in your mind. Is it too late? Is this late at all? And I've had to answer a lot of emails today and questions about that. No, this is not late. Trust my judgment. This is just in time. It's perfect timing. And let me give you an example. For those of you who know about eagles, there are people who go to observe eagles. There's a location in Europe where tourists can go, and the eagle is sitting on its nest, and the tourists stand in a circle, and there's a dead mouse or something that's put in the middle of the circle, and the eagle is supposed to come and pick up the dead animal, whatever, pick it up, or maybe it's a live snake, actually. Picks it up and flies off. And the tourists wait a long time to see this eagle do it. And you think, well, is the eagle just not hungry? Or is the eagle just too slow to recognize that it needs to get off the perch and come and grab the snake if it wants a meal? And I'm sure that there are people wondering, we wish if Martha would just run. And I wasn't running yet, and I'd gotten in at this point, and you're wondering why at this point. Well, let me tell you something about the way it works with eagles. An eagle is able to carry more weight when it picks up prey if it has speed, because the speed gives it more lift. Same with planes, same with eagles. But an eagle is so big and heavy, it can't just get off of its nest and reach a high speed on its own. It needs to wait for something. Does anyone know what it needs to wait for? Currents. Wind. And it's not something that you can just do on demand. This is not paint by number. Eagles don't stand up there and say, okay, wind, now, I want to fly, I want to eat. They have to wait for the right moment. And that moment, just trust me in how this race is run. And please trust me in the timing and trust me in how it goes about being organized and the strategy and how we do this. Because I've done this for a long time. I first ran for Attorney General in 2002, Republican nominee in Connecticut, then 2010. Republican nominee in Connecticut with bruising convention and bruising primary battles. And I won 44% of the vote in 2010 when people were spending millions of dollars, your money, your millions of dollars. I spent $120,000 and won 44% of the vote, taking no public money. Now, people said, a lot of professionals said to me and voters, if I had raised enough money to get the public money, which was $750,000, and run commercials, I would have won. I don't know if that's true, but I know that I got 44% of the vote, never running a commercial, in a statewide election, just working my heart out and standing for something, standing for a lot of things. So when candidates stand up and they articulate the case for why it's important to stand up and to actually to put certain policies into place and go down a certain path, when candidates do that and do it with courage, they can win, and that's what that campaign showed. And my 2002 race against Blumenthal showed that. For those of you who aren't aware, I was a nobody. I came out of nowhere, just a lawyer. Blumenthal and the other said that the underticket was all nobodies. And I pointed out that the founding fathers were nobodies to the British too back then, so nobodies can do very well. But anyway, without any, I think that race was something, tiny amount of money. And I still brought, in addition to the normal votes that Republicans win in the AG race and have won all along, sort of the normal Republican vote and then a little bit of the independents, beyond that, it was Pauline Keiser, who was Secretary of State, who pointed it out to me that I brought in 50,000 additional votes. And these were people who didn't vote in the governor's race and they didn't vote in the treasurer's race. They just turned out to vote in the AG's race because there was something that I stood for that motivated 50,000 additional people to show up and vote just in that race on top of the normal numbers that Republicans get. So I just want to encourage everyone, and these candidates who are speaking tonight, to stand up and really have courage, because it really does, it's not just that it works, it's the right thing to do. It's the right thing to do. So let me just answer some of your questions. So one, am I going to take public financing? Yes, I just said it. And that's $6 million that's available to a gubernatorial candidate if you raise $250,000 in no larger than $100 increments. So the good news is that once you contribute $100, no one can call you again and bug you for money. Anyone who's been, been through campaigns without public funding knows that you get constant phone calls. And amounts less than $100 work too. So if everyone, if everyone wrote a $50 check, it would take 5,000 people to get to that 250,000 threshold. Now, the only way to win the convention in May, and if I don't win it convincingly, I'm not going forward. I'm not into fool's errands, so I don't want to waste my time trying to do these hopeless missions. I did the last two races knowing that they would be very difficult and may not work out. But that's necessary in order to build the name recognition and the trust of the Connecticut people, where they know what I stand for, what my principles are, and that I do what I say, and that I live by what I believe in between elections. I litigate and run my law firm in a way that pursues these values. These same values that I stand here and talk about tonight are the very values that when I choose a client, I turn away a lot of clients. I choose clients whose issues further these values, further constitutional rights. So you know who I am and what I stand for. But now, what does this mean in terms of, is it possible to win? Well, let me just tell you that if it's possible for any gubernatorial candidate to win in Connecticut who stands for the Second Amendment, it will only be with this group. And the only way a candidate who stands for the Second Amendment strongly, not just up here at the microphone, but actually when the winds blow and howl and the polls come out, later when there's another shooting incident after whoever becomes governor and is under a lot of pressure to enact more egregious gun laws, the only way that we're going to get that kind of a candidate is by making sure that a candidate goes into the convention that stands for what you believe in with the full support of that $6 million. Meaning, even though we have until July to raise the $250,000, it has to be raised before the beginning of May, in my view, to be credible enough to get the Republican backing at the convention to win. Now, right now, nobody's raised it. Mark Boughton is struggling to raise it. He's an incumbent. This law, by the way, this public financing law, is incumbent protection. To have to raise money from so many thousands of people in tiny little increments, who has lists of thousands of people who owe them and have to write checks? Incumbent politicians. It's not to help challengers. Challengers can't raise it. In 2010, I couldn't have raised the money to get the public money, even if I'd wanted to. And that's the truth. Mark Boughton's struggling raising it. John McKinney may raise it, but he's way down in the polls. And we're going to keep him there. And others. Penny looks like she will raise it for the lieutenant governor race, but it is hard work. But this group can do it. So with 12,000 members, figure that 2,000 of them are spies, another 2,000 of them are media. Mark, from the Mirror. I don't know if he's a member or not, but figure that a good percentage of them are not people who are serious about the Second Amendment. But that still leaves thousands and thousands of members. But I need you to not just write your check, and it could be for less than $100, but I not only need you to write your check, I need you to go out door to door to your friends and family and neighbors and tell them that here's the form, they need to write a check now. And you're going to sit there and walk them through the process on the computer, or you're going to sit there until they write the check, and you're going to collect them, and you're going to bring them back to us, because the only message that's going to work in this state is to have a liftoff that is so powerful. I love the movie Apollo 13. And I think it's a phenomenal American movie about what Americans can do. But think about a rocket lifting off. They need to see that kind of message, that visual message of when a candidate that this group can get behind runs, there is a liftoff that you have never seen before, where the money just goes kaboom, and suddenly you've met the threshold. And when they see that, mark my words, they will never, ever, ever again in this state be anti-Second Amendment.
Woo, yeah.
So that's the first thing I need you to do, just quickly, because I'm getting Scott's wrap it up. The second thing is, the media are going to try to kill me, and the bloggers. Do not believe what they say. They've already spent all day making up all the old news about about the Newtown hoax video or whatever. I put up the video, just so you know, and I'll post this on my website. It said, "What's wrong with this video?" and put it up. And the Associated Press called me when the two parties slammed me over it and asked me about it, and I was going to give them a statement. And they went to my Facebook page and they called back and said, "Oh no, we don't need a statement. We're not going to do a story because there is no story." But the two parties made up the story after they found out that I beat Jepson in the 5th congressional district, and they wanted to, Roland and the two parties wanted to make sure that they kept that race clear for their own candidates, that I didn't get into it. So don't believe what you read, and get online and fight back. We'll give you the data, we'll give you the information to fight back from our website. And then the last thing is, we are going to use this public funding to help you. We're going to do a 3-day training course. We're going to tell you in advance so you can take time off from work, and we're going to train all of you so that it's not just well-intentioned people bumbling along, trying to do a good job, but stepping on each other, fighting with each other, and doing silly things that end up boomeranging back and making us look bad in the press. We're going to train you and get troops trained up so that we can win this. And if I don't win in the convention, you'll all be trained up to make sure somebody else does. So you're going to benefit from this race, not just from what we'll do in terms of winning the race, but also you're going to have the ability to keep doing this year after year and get good candidates into office. So thank you very much. I really appreciate, I think we all feel the love, but it has nothing to do with me. It has to do with our country. and our Constitution, and just the fact that we're all on the same page. We're willing to step forward and take the hits and show the courage that's necessary to get our country back on track. Thank you.